What's up, YouTube? Xavier Cottle here, and today, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be doing my weekly team tier list maker. That's not so weekly. I only do it about every 2 or 3 weeks, but I do it for the week I make it. So, depending on where I think these teams are at the time that I make this, is where I put them. Um, yeah, and before we get into the video, though, over 90% of the people that watch my videos don't subscribe. I'm getting 600, 700, 800 views every time I post a film analysis or a weekly picks video, getting 15 to 30 likes, and I'm not getting many subscribers. So if you're listening to this, if you wouldn't care if you're watching my videos, just pause this video, subscribe to me. I would really appreciate it. It'd mean the world to me. I've been getting a lot of love recently. I really appreciate that as well. But yeah, let's just get right into this here. First team, the Titans. I keep putting them A. Some people don't like that. I know Titans fans don't like that, but their defense, their pass rush to cornerbacks, like secondary combo, is really bad. It's horrible. They're missing Adoree Jackson horribly right now. I don't know if he's back yet, but even if they have him, their pass rush is just non-existent. So that really diminishes an Adoree Jackson's abilities, because the worse your pass rush is, the more time a quarterback's going to have to read the field. The more time a quarterback has to read the field, the more they're going to pick your defense apart. And that's what we've seen from the Titans defense time and time again this season. Their defense just kind of gets picked apart in the pass game. So until I see a little bit more improvement in the pass rush and the secondary, I'm going to leave them A, because when it comes time to win in the playoffs, you need defense. Dolphins, I'm going to put them B. Now, they're a fringe A team. They're really close to being an A team, but they're missing a few things. And one of them is just having star players on both sides of the ball. They're missing that horribly. And two is just having overall depth as well. They have a lot of holes on both sides of the ball. They're really talent deprived, and the only reason I think they're a B is because Brian Flores has really had this team playing well. He's been having great game plans. He's just doing a great job of coaching this team up, and I really commend him for that. And I think this Dolphins team has a lot of potential. I think they're going to be good very soon, but they're just going to need a little bit more talent before I start putting them higher on my list. Next team, the Browns. Now, the Browns are fringe S at this point. They're just pretty much the better version of the Titans. Now, the Titans have, in my opinion, a better running back, obviously, but the running back duo between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt is unmatched by any other duo in this league. Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, is currently playing better than Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill at the start of the season was playing like the man, but now his plays kind of dropped off. Baker Mayfield's picking up down the stretch when it matters going into the playoffs. I think this Browns team could be an S team. The only issue I have, yet again, is their defense. They do have Myles Garrett, though. He gets a good pass rush one way or another. But, if you can shut Myles Garrett down, if you can scheme a way to shut him down somehow, they're not getting pass rush really from anyone else. So that's a big issue. Their secondary, they have one person I really like. That's about it. Linebacker core, about the same way. Their linebacker core is not that good. So this Browns defense still has a lot definitely lacks talent. That's their biggest issue. But the way their offense has been playing, like the Titans last year, the Titans just ran the ball, controlled the clock, had the possession of the ball. That's how they won playoff games, but their defense was better. This year, the Titans' defense isn't like that. And the Browns don't have a defense like the Titans last year in the playoffs either. So I think both of these teams might be one and done in the playoffs. There's a big possibility that happens just because of their defense, not because of their offenses. Their offenses are two of the best in the league. But like I said, when it comes time for the playoffs, you got to have defense. If you don't have defense, you're not winning. Jags, pretty obvious D tier. Now, every time I talk about this, I talk about Joe Schobert, Miles Jack, Josh Allen, Taven Bryant, C.J. Henderson, guys of that nature. I really like their young defensive core. Offensively, they got Lindor, they got Norwell, they got two good offensive linemen. Cam Robinson, I believe, at right tackle, but I don't think he's that good, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, James Robinson at running back, he's had a very surprising year. I think this Jags team, now that they have first pick, is definitely taking Trevor Lawrence. which saddens me. I'm a Colts fan. I have to now play again. Now my Colts have to play against Tannehill, Deshaun Watson, and Trevor Lawrence for the next 10, 15 years. That's great. But yeah, this Jags team, they got a lot of potential. I think they have a lot of potential on offense as well, as just as much as defense. This Jags team, I think next year we're going to see a 2017 Jags-esque year. I think this AFC South is going to be absolutely loaded next year. So watch out for the AFC South. A couple talented teams there are probably going to miss the playoffs next year, but as of now, they're going to stay D. They just haven't played good. I think they're going to get a new coach, new defensive coordinator, some more people to come in there, mix up the chemistry, see if they can get the most out of their young, talented roster. Lions, we're going to put them C. I kind of feel like they're the definition of a C team. They got talent, but it doesn't always shine through when it needs to, and that's definitely been the case this year. That's been the case really the last 10 years. Matthew Stafford's career has kind of been wasted at the Lions. I don't want to say wasted because I think he's played good football. I'm sure he's so thankful to even be an NFL quarterback and stuff, but still yet, I just think the way Matthew Stafford, the way that franchise has really handled what they've done, that's a big issue. Stafford deserves better, and I think they will let him go this year. I heard a lot of people, or I saw someone saying they're going to give up on him, or let me rephrase that. I don't think they're going to give up on him. I saw someone in their organization saying they're going to move on from him. That's a huge mistake because Matthew Stafford hopefully goes to my Colts. If they do let him go, as good as Phillip Rivers has done, played way beyond expectations. If we could get a Matthew Stafford in this offense, oh my God, this team would be deadly. But I hope for Lions fans' sake they keep Matthew Stafford because he's an unbelievable talent. He's just never been given the opportunity. We'll quit talking about that. We'll move on to the Vikings. Wow, I couldn't remember their name. The Vikings, they're a kind of definition C team as well. I don't know really what is up with the Vikings because their offense is really good. I'm going to be honest with you. As bad as Kirk Cousins was at the start of the year, he doesn't look like that anymore. I don't know what the issue was at the start of the year. I don't know why. I mean, I understand their defensive woes. They're missing 7 starters from last year. Any team's going to be bad. You lose 7 of your starters. But still yet, offensively, I don't know what's been up with their woes because Jefferson's been great. He's been undoubtedly the best rookie receiver in the league and possibly even a top 10 rookie receiver or top 10 receiver this year as a rookie. That's unbelievable. Of course, they got Adam Thielen, who is a very good talent, possibly even a top 10 receiver as well. However, I would probably place him top 15. And Dalvin Cook, who has undoubtedly been the best running back in the league. So, they've got talent. And then Bradbury, Reef, they got 2 good tackles. They got a really good center who's looking like a young Jason Kelsey. He's a rookie this year, though. This Vikings team has potential. I just don't know what's going wrong. Maybe Mike Zimmer is the issue. Maybe I see a lot of Vikings fans talking about firing Mike Zimmer. Maybe he is the problem, but we'll see. We'll see how the organization handles it this offseason. Pretty interesting to see what they do. Buccaneers, they're going to be A. Now, if they would have lost this week, they would have been B for me any day of the week. Buccaneers are definitely fringe S because of just how deep and talented their roster is. Undoubtedly, in my opinion, the most talented roster in this league. From D-line to linebacker core to secondary to O-line to receiver core to running back core. This team is loaded, man. Loaded. Like maybe the most balanced team. The Rams, the Colts, teams like that, they come to mind. It's just interesting. I'm really just interested why they're bad. And for what I've seen on film, it really doesn't make sense. It's just the way the game plan is set up for Brady. It just doesn't make sense. Why are they making Brady throw down the field, 20 times a game. That doesn't make sense. Brady's never been that guy. He's never been the guy just to let the ball loose down the field 20, 25 times a game. Um, Now, deke and dunk, yes, that's Brady all day. 8 to 15 yard range. Yeah, I mean, even 3 to 10 yard range. Brady just rules. That's what he's always done. And with the receiving core he has, and Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown, why are they not doing that? I think it remains to be seen. I think during the playoffs they really do switch to that style of football. I think Bruce Arians has something up his sleeve, truly. So we'll see. Currently they're A tier, but they could definitely move up to S pretty easily. San Francisco, they're definitely C. Now, if they're healthy, they're A tier or S tier any day of the week. Kyle Shanahan is the best coach in this league, in my opinion. He is a great coach, and I don't think anyone would really argue that. A lot of people say he's a great coach. People like Stefanski rival him as well. Brian Flores as well. Frank Reich, in my opinion, does as well. Couple other coaches in that conversation, but when you're thinking of the best coach, I think Kyle Shanahan definitely stands out. He definitely stands out as being the best coach in the league. Just unfortunate how many injuries have really happened to this team this year. That's just kind of the story. Injuries have plagued this team. And like I said, they're not injured. They're higher up. Falcons. I'm going to put them C tier. Now, this team could be B tier. And maybe even A. They've just lost so many close games this year. It's been, for a Falcons fan, it has to be heartbreaking. Completely, I couldn't imagine my Colts doing that. Colts Nation would be calling for heads. If what happened to them the first 4 weeks happened to us, Frank Reich would be hiding. That's all I gotta say. Dan Quinn did get fired. I'm happy for them because Dan Quinn obviously was an issue. We saw how they played against the Raiders. That was really impressive. But we've also seen them in a couple other games just where, like the Saints, twice. How does Saints without Drew Brees, you should be competing. Saints without Drew Brees with Matt Ryan as your quarterback, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. And a defense that's been one of the better in the league. You should be competing against Taysom Hill, but they weren't. That's weird. I heard a lot about their interim coach going to be remaining there, might be their head coach next year. I don't think so. I don't think he's proved he needs to be there, especially with the roster they have, because the roster they have isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. And I think next year we're going to see a different coach come in there, maybe a Matt Eberflus from the Colts. I think he gets a head coach job. And hopefully if the Vikings fire Mike Zimmer comes over as defensive coordinator for the Colts. That would be best case scenario for me, just saying. But it remains to be seen. Baltimore, A tier all day. Oh, well, I think I just put 2. Did. We're going to move you back down, Bears. But yeah, Baltimore is an interesting team currently. A lot of people are like, oh, Lamar Jackson, one-trick pony. You are an absolute fool to believe that. I'm sorry. The guy is 40-0 in the red zone. I don't know if anyone understands how significant that is, but he has never turned the ball over in the red zone. That is crazy. And that just is just kind of a testament to what he is as a player. He's just the ultimate playmaker. Once you get into that shortened field, there is so many ways you have to pay attention to Lamar Jackson. Like on every play, 11 people have to know what they're doing perfectly to keep Lamar Jackson contained. You have to have a absolute fantastic front seven and fantastic game plan to stop Lamar Jackson. And that's even when his offensive line as it sits is one of the worst in the league. They're missing their starting tackle. Marshall Yonder retired. There's just so many people on this offensive line other than their left tackle that had to move over. I think Orlando Brown, or is he the one injured? Either way, there's so many injuries, or there's just that big injury, and then there's so many people that just aren't on this offensive line that were last year. It's kind of incredible to see how Lamar Jackson has still adapted and is still winning this Baltimore team games. Not to mention their defense is still really good. They have the best cornerback duo in the league in Marlon Humphrey and what is his name? Can't remember his name. It's their second corner though. He's really talented as well. Their cornerback duo is fantastic. They get a pass rush. Their defensive front seven's good. Patrick Queen, another young guy they drafted this year. They're set. The Baltimore is set. Come playoff time, that's going to be one of the scarier teams to play. You don't want to play Baltimore in the playoffs. Bears, they're going to be moving up to B. Bears fans got to be happy. I've had them C for a while now. But yeah, they're moving up to B for me. Their defense is every bit elite. We know that. We've seen that the last 3 years. And then, of course, they brought Mitch Trubisky back in, and Mitch Trubisky's balling. I've been saying for a while, Nick Foles is not the answer. Nick Foles is not good. You can go back and watch my videos 10 weeks ago. I've been saying it. I've been saying it for a while. Nick Foles is not your answer. With a bad offensive line to put a less mobile quarterback in that pocket, that is pretty much on that same tier as Trubisky is just idiotic in my opinion. Trubisky is now balling. They've won a couple games. They beat the mess out of the Texans. He threw all over the Texans. Like, the Bears look decent. The Bears look like they might be playoff ready, and that's surprising. I never would have expected that. It just blows me away that the evolution of this Bears team. Now, I think Nagy is probably gone after this season. Just the decision making he's had from the quarterback standpoint, some of the games, the scheme just doesn't look good offensively. And I think he's hurting Trubisky more than Trubisky's hurting the offense. Believe it or not. I know that sounds ludicrous, but we've seen some good play out of Trubisky. We've seen Trubisky in a Pro Bowl. I know that's fan voted, but come on, man. We've seen Trubisky be good. It's just, I feel like Nagy's the issue right now. Just from what I've seen this year, just from how I've seen it coached, I feel like Nagy's the issue. I could be wrong, but hey, Trubisky's proved people wrong time and time again. He keeps showing back up and playing well. I think it's time to hand the reins over to somebody else and let them get a different coaching job. Bengals, we're going to be moving them up to C. We just watched them beat the Steelers. I know people are saying Steelers are frauds, but the Steelers started off 11-0. They were still beating teams over 500, whether it was just 3, but still yet they were over 500. You can't. The Bengals team, my biggest issue with them the whole year has been without Joe Burrow, they suck. They're bad without Joe Burrow. They're but they kind of proved me wrong this game. I think their defense has some great playmakers. They got Bates in the secondary. They got a two good safety combo. They got a good corner. Their secondary is good. I think they just need a new defensive coordinator because they haven't played good all year. And then of course they got Geno Atkins, Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson's had a breakout year this year. This Bengals team is sneakily maybe one of the best personnel in the league. Now they do need help in the linebacker core. They could use another person on the defensive line. Obviously they're going to draft linemen first in the draft, but after beating the Bengals, they're out of the Penei Sewell conversation, I'm pretty sure. So that's unfortunate. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're still third. I think it's Jags 1, Jets 2. Yep, they have 3 wins, so I think it is Bengals third. So Bengals are going to be able to have Jonah Williams, right tackle, Penei Sewell, left tackle. I think Jonah Williams will make the move to right tackle once they draft Sewell because Sewell's such a good prospect. No reason to put him at right tackle. Then they're going to be set that maybe they can get a guy in the offseason and come play guard because their offensive line play has been absolutely awful. And you can't risk Joe Burrow being injured the rest of his career because they already got a good receiving core. Once they get this offense rolling, they can focus on defense because they got such a enticing prospect in Joe Burrow. Cowboys, I'm putting them D. Some people might not like that. I don't care. Mike McCarthy's bad. He is a bad coach. The players have told people that time and time again. Management at the Cowboys are just unendingly, what would you call it? They're unendingly just blind. They just the loyalty they have for just people in their organization is sometimes ridiculous. Like I understand having loyalty for people is great. Especially whenever you play in a franchise, if your owner's loyal to you, like Jerry Jones is to pretty much everyone that steps foot in there, it gives you a confidence boost. But Mike McCarthy's not the guy to be loyal to, in my opinion. I don't think he's that guy. And I think they're making a huge mistake since they've already said they're going to bring Mike McCarthy back for the 2021 season. Texans. Another C team. Now, the thing that makes the Texans different than a lot of C teams is just the fact they got star power on both sides of the ball. They got J.J. Watt and then they got Deshaun Watson. Zach Cunningham as a linebacker is really good. Leads the league in tackles. He's good. He's good. I know tackle numbers don't matter that much, but if you watch him play, man, he is physical. I've seen him go one-on-one with Wyatt Teller and put him on his butt before. He's a physical dude. He's a real physical dude. So I think the Texans, have a chance. They have a chance to be good next year, but no first and second round pick. I think Texans got a couple years before they're going to really be back to that level we saw them in 2015-2014 era. Colts, first S-tier team. A lot of S-tier teams down here at the bottom. But, yeah, if it would move it up there, that'd be great. But, the Colts, I know they're my team, and I don't want to sound biased, but I really do believe they're an S-tier team. Both sides of the ball, offensively, they're top 10 now. Defensively, they're top 5 any day of the week. And it really just starts up front. Colts on the offensive front, a lot of people have been saying they're regressed. Well, down the stretch here, they've been beating everyone to death up front. It's been a massacre, really, every game they played. Defensively, or the last 5-6 games for the Colts offensive line. And then the whole season, the defensive front for the Colts has been just lights out. DeForest Buckner's, in my opinion, the second best interior defensive lineman in this league. Jeffrey Simmons kind of rivals him for that, but he gets nowhere near the pass rush that DeForest Buckner gets, so I don't really want to put Jeffrey Simmons over him. But Jeffrey Simmons, with his run-stopping ability alone, is third for me. Of course, Aaron Donald's number 1. I'm sure no one's arguing that. And then, as well, Grover Stewart's been one of the best run-stuffing one techs in the league, too. And then you got Justin Houston, who's been putting up good sack numbers his whole career. This year, no different. Kamoko Ture's back, who's one of the highest rated young defensive ends. He gets very limited reps. We're keeping him clean. He's been injured too much the first couple of years, but he's a good prospect. Watch out for Kamoko. And then Danico Autry, of course, who's had a lot of quality play this year. He's been serviceable at the other defensive end. So their D front is great. And then on the back end, you got Julian Blackmon, who is, in my opinion, the defensive rookie of the year any day of the week. Xavier Rhodes, who's had a complete career revitalization. Quarterbacks are under 40% targeting him, completion percentage, and then quarterbacks are 0-15 targeting him on third down this season. So Xavier Rhodes has been great. Kenny Moore, I'm sure people are starting to hear about him. He's been absolutely fantastic, probably the best slot corner in the league. And then Darius Leonard, who is undoubtedly a top 3 linebacker in this league, maybe the best. It's just, it just depends on what you want. Levante David's really good, as well as the dude from the 49ers, if I could remember his name currently. Can't remember his name. Guy from 49ers, I'm sure you probably know who I'm talking about. He's really talented as well. But this Colts team is just stacked, top to bottom, on both sides of the ball. They got talent. They got talent. That's really the bottom line about it. And unlike other teams, they are one of the top 3 most complete teams in this league, and a top 5 coach team as well. Frank Reich is an excellent coach. But we'll move on. That's my favorite team. I kind of started rambling. I apologize. We'll talk about the Rams now. The Rams, I'm putting them S tier. People are like, I'm going to hear it in the comments. They just lost to the Jets. Yeah, I know they just lost to the Jets. But the Rams have been good all year. They beat the Seahawks. They beat good teams. They beat the Bucks. You just forget about that. Yeah, the Rams just, fell apart. I think Sean McVay was looking forward to the next week. He didn't care about the Jets. He didn't expect the Jets to want to win. And lo and behold, the Jets came out with a good game plan. They wanted to beat the Rams. They wanted to play spoilers. So, Sean McVay might have a little animosity towards Adam Gase here soon. That's a possibility, but we don't know. But yeah, I think this Rams squad, they're really good. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, two of the best defensive players at the positions. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say they're both the best at their defensive positions. I think Jalen Ramsey's the best corner all around, and I think Aaron Donald's the best three-tech defensive tackle all around. So they got a lot of people to build around. And then on offense, Jared Goff, Cam Akers, and then a pretty solid offensive line along with Cooper Kupp and Jefferson. They're a pretty talented offense, and Sean McVay knows how to get the most out of every player on both sides of the ball. That's why I like Sean McVay. He's not just a offense guy or a defense guy. He's a both sides of the ball guy. Sean McVay is easily a top 3 coach in this league for me, maybe number 2. That's a lot of praise. I know it's a lot of praise, but he might be, in my opinion, the second best coach in this league. Andy Reid's got a little, Andy Reid to me has a lot of say-so in that, but, Sean McVay is doing a lot more with less. Or is producing more with less, I should say. He's not doing a lot more because, obviously, Kansas City is a better team. Chargers. We're going to put them C. Chargers on any day of the week could beat a team. I just think they're built like that. I have a lot of teams in C, don't I? There's going to be a lot more in C. But, the Chargers are just a team that could any day of the week upset somebody. That's just the truth about it. It's hard to really put them. I kind of want to put them D, but that's just because of their coach, Coach Lynn. Other than that, Derwin James is injured. Melvin Ingram's injured. That's 2 of their best defensive players. And then their linebacker core was never good to begin with, but Joey Bosa is an absolute stud. One of the best DNs in the league. He's a problem. You got a game plan for that guy. Then offensively, they got one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They're definitely drafting offensive line this year. But then they got a guy that goes by the name of Justin Herbert, and he is a stud quarterback. He's going to be great. He looks like a young Matthew Stafford, maybe even I don't want to call him more talented, but he's having definitely a more productive first year than Matthew Stafford ever did. But he's showing signs of being Matthew Stafford-esque, so that's pretty cool. Cool to see the Chargers drafted the right guy. They got the right dude to come over there and play. And I'm sure they're excited I'm sure they're excited to see how Justin Herbert is going to progress over the years. Kansas City. Shocker, they're S tier. They're good, obviously. I feel like I don't really need to talk about them much. They're easily the best offense in the league, and defensively, they're fringe top 10. So, yeah, they're definitely the Super Bowl favorites and probably going to win the Super Bowl. If I'm being realistic. Saints, S tier. Now, Saints without the man himself, Drew Brees, are kind of a bad team. I'm going to be honest with you. The way they lost to the Eagles was really weird. Weird. I don't know how that happened. I really couldn't tell you how that happened. But it did. I thought their defense would be able to limit them enough, but Jalen Hurts obviously had other plans with 4 touchdowns and 400 total yards, you don't see me rookies doing that, But yeah, I still like them. I still like the Saints being S tier. Drew Brees especially, Michael Thomas connection. They're going to move the ball. It's just, can their defense step up and play? And they have. The last 6-7 weeks, they've been getting pressure on pressure. It's just game in, game out. Mario Davis is doing a great job blitzing this year. I like what the Saints have been doing. Giants. Now, if the Giants would have beat the Cardinals, it would have been they would have been B tier. But I'm going to leave them C. I think C is where they belong currently with their quarterback woes they're having. Um, yeah, their offensive line for some reason, like everyone they got, just kind of has regressed. Andrew Thomas has not worked out. Daniel Jones is a turnover machine. So, by the way, I just said that they should be D, right? Well, on the other side of the ball, their defense is like top 10 in the league any day of the week. Their defense is better than the Titans. They're better than the Browns. They're better personnel wise than the Dolphins, and probably game wise better than the Dolphins as well. Um, Defense is better than Kansas City's defense. There's a lot of good S tier teams, A, B teams. Their defense is better than. It's just their offense is any day of the week D. So I got to leave them C. Until their offense improves, they're probably going to stay C. Eagles C. Eagles would be a D without Jalen Hurts. If Carson Wentz would still be playing and playing the way he has all season, they would be D tier. But Jalen Hurts has come in and he's kind of saved their season. He's kept them in contention, but I still think it's all for loss because I think Washington is going to end up making the playoffs anyways. Steelers, I don't know where to put them. This is a tough decision, man. Steelers. Where do the Steelers go? Man, that does not look right, does it? I feel like that don't look right. I feel like the Steelers should still be S tier. I'm gonna leave them A. No hate to the Steeler Nation or anything. I truly believe in you all, and I think I actually picked you guys to beat my Colts this week. On my weekly picks I posted, but after I watched you all against Washington or against the Bengals, man, I don't know what's going on. Big Ben, maybe the film's out or something. Like their run game has been absolutely awful. Pass game has been absolutely awful. Um, that offensive line is bad. Other than um, DeCastro, just everything about your offensive line is bad. Um, Big Ben has been playing awful on this last 3-4 game stretch. Yeah, I just don't know about the Steelers right now. I don't know what's going on with them. It's hard to bet on them. It's hard to bet against them just by what we've seen in some of the other games this year. I don't think you guys are in any way a fraud, but at the current moment it sits, I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders either. So I'm going to leave them A. That's just how I feel. They could move up. Broncos. This team is a weird team. It's a weird team to place because they could be B or they could be C. It just depends. Um, you know, if Drew Lock is playing good, then they're a B team. If Drew Lock is playing bad, then they're a C team. Fringe D. It just depends because their defense is scrappy. Their defense comes out and plays hard. Their defense does their thing. They got Bradley Chubb. They got a good secondary. And like I said, the most important thing, they play hard. They're scrappy. They get to the ball. I like the Broncos' defense. It's just Drew Lock is just, it's bewildering to me what Drew Lock is going to do on a game-to-game basis. And that's why it's hard for me to put them B tier. But hey, if you guys win a couple more games, it could change. It could change. I'm actually looking up the Broncos right now, looking at their record. I know they just lost to the Bills, but I picked them to beat the Panthers. They did. They played the Chiefs well. They beat the Dolphins as well this season. They lost to the Falcons, though. I've seen all these games. I don't know why I'm looking this up. Yeah, I think you guys are C. I think you're one of the better C teams, but it's hard. I've seen a lot of games. I've seen 4 or 5 games of the Broncos this season. And they're a weird team because on any given day, if Drew Lock, like I said, if Drew Lock's playing good, they're a B team. But he's just too inconsistent for me right now to put them B. That's really kind of what it boils down to. Packers, they're going to S tier. Now it's hard for me to put the Packers S and not the Steelers because the Packers are like the reverse Steelers. The Packers' defense is just god awful, but their offense is just unbelievable. Um, and we've seen the Packers get exposed this year by good offenses horribly, and so that's why they're probably kind of scared of the Titans right now because the Titans are going to be able to move the ball against that defense. I would put money on it. And it's not a personnel issue, it's just a coaching issue. Coaching for the Green Bay Packers defense is just really bad. Their run defense is really bad. They're just always put in a bad position. They're always outmanned on one side. It's easy to poke holes in this Packers defense. So next year, I expect a new defensive coordinator. Matt LaFleur is way too talented to be brought down by a bad defense because his offense is absolutely booming right now. Panthers. I don't know. It's hard for me to put the Panthers B when the Broncos beat them, but I'm going to because we've seen a lot out of the Panthers this year. We've seen a lot of good play from the Panthers, a lot of surprisingly good play from the Panthers. Play you really wouldn't expect. But as it sits currently, if the Panthers play any of the teams below them, it's hard for me to pick them. Or for me to pick against them. Like if they played the Bengals, it'd be hard for me to pick against them. Same with the Giants. Well, I don't know. I take this back. Panthers are a C team in my opinion. I'll take it back. Thinking about it, whenever they play good defenses, they really struggle. Their defense has a lot of good young players, but they don't have the chemistry yet. Like they got a Derek Brown, they got a Jeremy Chin, a Gross Matos, they got a Brian Burns, they got all these good people on their defense, but they just don't have that chemistry yet. And Derek Brown as well has not looked like he's in shape. He's looked out of shape all year. I think this offseason is going to really help him, and he's going to come back and be an absolute stud next year. But as it sits, this team is just not where I want them to be. But Teddy Bridgewater's been good. Robbie Anderson's been good. Mike Davis has been good. Without CMC, they're definitely not a B team, so I don't know what I was thinking there to begin with. But yeah, I think they're a pretty solid C team, though. They're one of the better C teams. Raiders, I'm going to put them B. I feel like it's a pretty no-brainer. I feel like the Raiders are kind of definition B tier. They had a chance to really solidify themselves a playoff spot, and they blew it. They played against the Colts and got absolutely smoked. Colts proved that the Raiders don't even belong in the conversation with them that game. That was really kind of a statement win. Not hating on the Raiders because the Raiders' offense did a good job. I'm not trying to hate on the Raiders, is what I'm saying. I'm doing this from an unbiased perspective. The Raiders did a good job that game moving the ball. Offensively, they did a great job. It's just the Colts' defense did what they did all year and make big plays. They caused turnovers. Their turnover differential is one of the best in the league. As well, the Colts' offense would just smoked their defense. That was not even close. Anything they wanted to do, run, pass, play action, Colts were doing it. It didn't matter. So I think this Raiders squad, I think they got a lot of potential. I think under Gruden they're going to be good, but they just got another year. They need some more playmakers on defense before they're really, really going to hit their peak. Washington, they're going to be B. Washington's going to move up for me. First time they've been B all year, I believe. Yeah, their defense is playing good. Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. They have been three great players, and as well as Matthew Ioannidis on that defensive line. He's a beast. Alex Smith has played great all year. They got Scary Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson. He's been, in my opinion, the best rookie running back so far. But if we're talking about talent, Jonathan Taylor's talent is really starting to shine through. So I think Jonathan Taylor is starting to come through as the best rookie running back, but Antonio Gibson over the season so far has definitely been the best rookie running back. They got playmakers, and their offensive line is pretty good as well. Brandon Scherf, Schweitzer, their center is pretty good. Their tackle play is kind of shaky, but that interior three for them is really good as well. So I like Washington. I think they're a B-tier team. I think they're the worst B-tier team on the list, but still yet, I think they're a good team. I think they're definitely graduated from the C class, and They got a lot of potential. They got a lot of young players, got a lot of potential. That brings me to the Cards. Cards are going to be a B team as well. Now, the Cardinals are fringe A. I'll say that. They're very, very talented. Maybe the best team on this list just because of Kyler Murray, D Hop. But, Isaiah Simmons, he's starting to look like that beast they drafted. They're finally starting to play him at just linebacker. Buda Baker, Patrick Peterson. Believe it or not, Patrick Peterson's still a pretty good player. They're missing Chandler Jones right now, but they've had a lot of people step up on that defensive line. As you saw against the Giants, they got 8 sacks. That was pretty crazy. I think they're a B team. They're fringe A. They're really close to being that A team. I just got to see a little bit more from them yet again. Bills are definitely an S team. That's hands down. They're a super, super, super talented team. And if anyone is going to win the Super Bowl in the AFC other than Kansas City as it sits week 16, it's going to be the Bills. I don't think, maybe the Colts, maybe the Titans, Browns. I don't know. There's a lot of good talent. Titans, Browns, Steelers, Ravens, Colts. It's just pretty much them 5 teams and then the Bills, then this Kansas City. I feel like it started to kind of like differentiate like the tiers of teams. That probably made no sense. I apologize if it didn't. But I'm saying like Kansas City's number 1, Bills are number 2. In my opinion, I think the Colts are number 3 in contention. And then below that, or no, I think it's Bills 1 or Kansas City 1, Bills 2, and then Colts, Titans, Browns, Ravens, Steelers 3. I think on any given day, them teams can win, and they could upset anyone above them as well, being the Bills, Kansas City. But I think Kansas City or the Bills have established themselves as the second best team in the AFC. I think their defense, especially since the Steelers have fell from grace, I think their defenses really came alive. First 6-7 weeks they were bad. Now they look good. They look like that 2019, 2018 Bills defense we're accustomed to the last couple of years. And their offense, of course, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Singletary, Cole Beasley, Zach Moss. They're starting to look like that team. They're starting to look like the Bills that Bills Mafia was preaching at the start of this season. Seahawks, I'm going to put them A tier. The Seahawks defense, man, just lets me down time and time again. As much as I want to bet on the Seahawks to be a Super Bowl contender, they're just not. They're not. At the end of the day, they're just not them guys. That's just not who they are. They're not. They're not. That defense is just porous, man. Porous. And that's saying the least. I could go on and on about how bad their defense is. I know they got Bobby Wagner. I know they got Adams from the Jets, strong safety. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think they generate enough pressure up front. I don't think their secondary is anywhere near, other than Adams, as talented as they need to be. I just don't think when it comes time for the playoffs and we see a team limit their offense like the Giants did, they're not even going to go near a win. Jets, D tier. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's just no. Their roster's just bad. Coaching's bad. Culture's bad. Everything about the Jets are just bad. I really can't even go into. I can't talk about that. But yeah. Last team though, Patriots. They're a B team. I think the Patriots on any given day could really upset a lot of different teams. But at the end of the day, Cam Newton's bad. He's definitely been a bust for them. Their offense is incredibly inconsistent. One day they'll look good. One day they'll look awful. All they can do is run the ball, and there's only so much you can do in the game of football just running the ball. So, yeah, I think they're kind of definition B team. I think they're the second worst B team there. other than the Redskins, but still yet I think the Redskins may be better. It's just the Patriots, Bill Belichick's kept them in this conversation. Their personnel is absolutely garbage. Defensive front seven, garbage. Offensive line, decent. It's pretty good, actually. Their offensive line is pretty good. But they're not top five or anything. They're not anything spectacular. Maybe if Bill Belichick had the Colts offensive line, or maybe a healthy Titans offensive line, healthy Browns offensive line, something like that. A healthy Green Bay offensive line. Maybe they'd be an A team, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. Or a healthy Raiders offensive line, someone like that. I don't know, man. I just don't think they're them guys. That a lot of the Patriots fans have tried to preach, but still yet I think they're a B team. I think Bill Belichick keeps them in a lot of games. We've seen them limit the Dolphins. It's just their offense was incredibly limited as well. But yep, that's my tier list for you guys. I know some of you guys won't like it because of my placement of the Rams. I mean, I can literally forecast that. I'm going to call it that people are going to say the Rams are bad. They lost to the Jets. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'm going to be like, okay, I don't care. But if you're still here listening, drop a 0011 in the chat. If you're still here, that is a 0011 just to let me know that you've listened all the way through. You've listened to what I got to say. And if you're doing that, I really appreciate it because I value all your guys' opinion. But yeah, thanks for listening. That's all I got for you guys. And until next time, guys, peace.